Rick Rule for Rule Investment Media, sponsors of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium, July 7 through 11 in Boca Raton, Florida, and live streamed to the comfort and convenience of your own home. Today, I'm interviewing Graham Harris from Surge Battery Metals as part of our ongoing series of introducing our attendees to the exhibitors before the conference. It is true that during the 50 hours of the conference, there is no way that you will be able to absorb all 50 hours of our programming. So, allocating your time among the stories that you're familiar with and the stories that are of most interest to you gives you a way to maximize your benefit of the conference. Graham, first of all, as a shareholder, thank you for your efforts on behalf of shareholders. Thank you, too, for your sponsorship of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us today.
Actually, the pleasure's all ours, Rick. I appreciate the platform that you provide and the opportunity to present Surge Battery Metals.
Surge Battery Metals is well, I guess exclusively engaged in the lithium business. Why don't you start by telling us something about the successes that the management team has had in the lithium business? Too many lithium managers couldn't spell lithium 4 or 5 years ago and got into it when it seemed to be hot. You guys aren't Johnny come lately. So tell me something about your track record of success in lithium before this effort.
Well, I appreciate that, Rick. I mean, you're right. I mean, it goes back to when I entered the business in 2016. I remember going down to Salta, Argentina, and in that hotel was every promoter you could name from Australia and Vancouver and Toronto, and they're all fighting for a piece of the action, which was to get a property down there. And for the most part, most of them were just trying to get a property so they could promote it in their shell and move on to the next, whatever the next flavor of the month may be. But I was fortunate to go down there. And because I'd had a track record in Argentina, I'd been down there for many years before working on a gold copper project. I had the fortune of having some people down there that could vouch for me that we'd been down there, done everything properly, and they introduced me to some vendors who had some lithium properties, and lo and behold, they turned out to be world class. And I developed the asset in Millennial Lithium from basically nothing, from grassroots exploration to the point we sold it 6 years later to Lithium Americas for $500 million. So we have a we have a great team in place. Through that exercise, what came to me was that I really enjoyed working and putting together a lithium team. And as you know, it's a relatively new space. If I had a gold mine, I could find many people who put a gold mine into production, but you cannot find many people who put a lithium mine into production. And I had the fortune of meeting a gentleman named Ian Scarr down there, a geologist who'd worked on many lithium projects. And through Ian, he introduced me to Vijay Mehta. And very fortunately, I've been able to move that lithium team that helped me develop Pastos Grandes in Millennial Lithium, which was sold, to Surge Battery Metals. And we're really keen on this new project we have with the team we have.
So let's talk about this. Obviously, you have a nose for good properties. The last one was big and economic enough that you sold it for $500 million. Let's talk about your latest incarnation. Tell us something about this project and why you think this is competitive in lithium space.
Great question. I mean, it took a lot for me to get back on the horse here, Rick. You know, it's a lot of work to get these things to the point where you can have a successful M&A or put it into production, whatever the end goal may be. But we came across this project, which I didn't find like I found it Millennial, but it was intriguing enough. It had some super high grade lithium results from very early stage drilling, and it got my team interested enough that we started to do a deep dive into the project. And lo and behold, the more we tried to poke a hole in this thing, the less we were able to. And so I was able to come in and buy my way into the company by doing a private placement and establish a position in Surge Battery Metals, and then take over the management to bring my team in. And since the last year, we've just continued to de-risk it, had some more excellent results from the drilling we did last year. We just announced a maiden resource recently. And more importantly, we also just announced results of our met work, because finding lithium is one thing, but getting it out of the ground is another. It's more a chemical engineering process, and to have favorable met work is key. And we just announced that a couple of weeks ago.
Well, let's talk about both of those. Let's talk about, first of all, the order of magnitude, which is to say the size of the prize. What does the resource look like? And then let's talk about the met. Let's talk about turning that prize into money.
Yeah, what's interesting enough is in Nevada, we were operating under what they call a notice of intent, which is a very limited 5 acre disturbance that we could drill. So what we did in the last 2 years program was we maximized the spacing by literally drilling off the side of the road to minimize the disturbance. So what's really key about this whole deposit is that we came up with a world-class 5 million ton plus deposit of 3,000 ppm, which rivals Thacker Pass, which is Lithium America's big asset. And I think that these two, Thacker Pass and Nevada North, our project in Nevada, stand head and shoulders above the other lithium clay deposits just due to their size and, more importantly, the grade. And that's what we established last year, and we hope to further expand the drilling this year. And we already have a world-class deposit. It's just going to get bigger and better. And I think in the end, you'll see that it's going to rival our competitor, which is Thacker Pass at Lithium Americas.
And then tell us something about the metallurgy, as you suggest. Lithium clay technology is not necessarily new technology relative to the other types of technologies. Tell us something about turning this big deposit into money. How does it work?
Well, we start with what we're working on now, which is the PEA. So first of all, we did the met work to show you can get the lithium out of the clay. And we were very successful in doing that, reaching 99% technical grade, which a lot of the battery manufacturers will take right now. But we'll probably upgrade that over the next few months and produce a battery grade material now that we've defined it to technical grade and know what the impurities are. But as you mentioned, we're using a known process. We're using the same flow sheet that they've used at Thacker Pass. So we know that we can get it out. It's just now flushing out the economics. And we think for a number of reasons, notwithstanding the higher grade, our higher grade is at surface, we think we'll have a very positive PEA relative to Thacker Pass. And Thacker Pass is $1.5 billion, $2 billion prize out there. So that's the end goal, is to de-risk this asset to the point where it can rival Thacker and in valuation.
Graham, there's some criticism around PEAs, but I've always liked them in the sense that they are the first document that reasonably defines the size of the prize. When might investors expect a PEA, which I would suggest might be a catalyst in terms of valuation?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Rick. I mean, we're a mining company. We have to go through the steps that will attract the investment. And the first step is to show that it's economic. And a PEA is your plus or minus 30%, and your next stage would be your bankable feasibility. But the PEA is what we're working on now. You can expect shortly. We've just done the RFPs to the engineering firms. We've selected one, and we'll announce it shortly who we've selected. And we can expect that by the fall, we should have a PEA on this project.
Fall 2024, just for the record?
Correct.
Thank you. And may I assume that while you're working on the PEA, you will also be upgrading both the network in terms of ultimate recoveries, but also perhaps the resource?
Actually, bang on, both of them. We just announced today, actually, that our spring drill program is underway, or will be underway at the end of May. We've selected Bort Longyear. So we will be expanding the drilling program this year, and based on the geophysics, I think investors can expect a sizable bump in the resource come, say, September, October, once we get the drilling results in. As a clay deposit, it's been pretty accurately predicted that where the geophysics are and where we drill are highly correlated. So we're pretty confident by extending the drilling about 1 kilometer to the south and about half a kilometer to the west that we are going to increase the size of this resource. So that's key. I mean, it's already world class, but as you know, bigger is better, and the market loves big numbers. And I think along with that, we'll be doing the met work and upgrading, reassigning Cometco to work with VJ Meta, our processing guru, to get the battery grade. And I think those are two key catalysts that we have coming shortly.
Catalysts indeed. To the extent that our attendees are interested in energy transition and batteries, and I assure you that they are, particularly those who are interested in those of our attendees who are American, who are interested in domestic supply and would like to learn more about surge battery metals. Who should they contact, and how might they reach that person?
Well, Rick, we're always available. I've spent a lot of time in this business. I was 20 years a broker at Yorkton and Canaccord. I'm 20 years on this side. I think I can help any investor with any questions they may have, and we will be attending your conference. And I look forward to anybody who wants to have a meeting to sign up to the one-to-one platform, or just reach out. If that's not appropriate, just reach out to me directly.
And how might they reach you indirectly, which is to say email address or phone number?
gharris@surgebatterymetals.com.
Graham, thank you very much for your efforts on behalf of shareholders, myself and my former partners at SCP Resource Finance. And thank you in particular for your sponsorship of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium. I look forward to hosting you in Boca Raton, Florida, July 7th through 11th.
Thank you, Rick.